Trump did an interview on Tuesday, I guess this was, with Sean Hannity, and you will recall that Hannity's name appeared quite a bit in the January 6th files because of how closely coordinated he is with the Trump orbit. So this is as softball of an interview as you could possibly get, and it seems like he's trying here to tee Trump up to say, I won't be an authoritarian dictator. And Trump can't answer the question. Hannity asks it 2 times and tries to clarify on the second time. This is the first time where Trump just kind of softly dodges it.
They want to call you a dictator. You use the words, I am your retribution. And now before that, you said if you've been wronged, and you used other words as well. But I want to be very, very clear on this. To be clear, do you in any way have any plans whatsoever, if re-elected president, to abuse power, to break the law, to use the government to go after people?
You mean like they're using right now? So, in the history of our country, what's happened to us, again, has never happened before.
Not just me.
Over nonsense, over nothing, made up charges. I often say Al Capone, he was one of the greatest of all time, if you like criminals. He was with Scarface, they call him. And he got indicted once. I got indicted 4 times. I wonder what my father and mother would say looking down.
We had a lot of...
All right, so that was not really an answer.
What do you think about the GOAT argument of criminals?
Yeah, right.
It's Al Capone.
One of the
Look, it was
greatest
a different game back then. The game's changed a lot now. Technology's changed it, the way people train and plan things. But yeah,
I mean, he has 91 charges against him.
Well,
like, I mean,
also,
what were they able to get Capone on?
Tax evasion, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because he was better at hiding his crimes.
Yes,
that's not like
right.
That's not like a point for you, Trump. Like, you're worse at hiding your crimes than like one of the. I guess that's what made the greatest of all time.
if Capone ran for president and won, I think honestly we probably would have broken some of these records earlier.
Records?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Capone was really good at hiding stuff. Like Geraldo opened the safe and there was nothing in there.
Oh,
the FBI went into Mar-a-Lago and found boxes of shit all over the place.
Yeah,
next to the bathroom.
Yeah, Capone would have like known where to hide his stuff as opposed to it being reading material on the cold toilet. But like, okay, so this is Hannity asks the second time. Okay, just to clarify. You wouldn't be an authoritarian, you wouldn't be a dictator, you wouldn't abuse power, and this is how Trump reacts and responds.
We almost have to go to a break. I want to go back to this one issue, though, because the media has been focused on this and attacking you under no circumstances. You are promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except what?
Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border and I want to drill.
That's not retribution.
I'm going to be.
As the audience cheers.
We love this guy. He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, "No. Other than day one."
He repeats
Closing
it.
the border, and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator.
So that sounds to me like you're going back to the policies when you were president. All right,
exactly.
Take a break. Just getting started. We're in beautiful Davenport, Iowa. Donald Trump with us for the hour as Hannity continues. Thank you for being with us.
He says, day one.
Original gangster right there, Donald Trump. I mean, what is he doing? What is he planning with this? I mean, he knows his audience, his crowd loves it. But I mean, geez.
Well, it's amazing. It's amazing with Hannity too that he what Trump's, I think, most, I would say, for his audience and his supporters, his most magical quality is this like self-referential aspect he has where he sort of knows that he's doing something when he's doing it, even though it might not be like particularly wise or like, prudent or whatever. Because like he absolutely knows that Hannity is trying to give him an out. Yes. And that Hannity is like quailing when he won't take it. So he's like literally almost making fun of Hannity at the same time, being like, get a load of this guy. We love him, right? He's sweating through his freaking boot.
But he's right.
Shivering in his boots that I'm saying I'm going to be a dictator. I really am, though, by the way. I really am.
Well, because the number one thing his fans love most about Trump is his ability to trigger the libs. And him saying he'd be a dictator is the number one, troll move.
Yeah, it's a
he's
force
not playing.
multiplier.
It's him not playing the rules as a normal politician again. I mean, and I mean, I shouldn't. You can't expect anything better than Hannity. But like, how are we babies?
Yeah.
Like, do we even define dictator? Like, Trump is not going to be a dictator. He's going to be a fascist demagogue. But like the courts, he doesn't like entirely control the courts. Like that. Like, what do we even mean by that? It's just like, oh, the big bad word to assign to somebody.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's also like going back to Hannity, like Republican media and Republican sycophant 101, which is to try to like minimize any concerns about what they're going to do with power.
Yes.
And
Right.
so, of course, he has to get up there and go like, people say that you're going to be a dictator, that you're going to start, prosecuting your political enemies. You're not going to do that, right? They're just overreacting. And he's like, yes. Yes,
Yeah,
I am
right.
going to do that.
Right.
And so that just like short circuits like the average Republican, media, I think, position, which is that like libs freak out over nothing. Republicans are just any other leaders, and they're just mad that they didn't win. When it's like, no, Republicans are uniquely like.
No, but they'll shift the goalposts there too, and then say like, "Well, he just said on day one. I mean, he just said he'd be a dictator on day one. So I mean, the libs just got to relax."
And also, the thing is, what's funny is that Hannity, of course, as you said, Matt, like bar on the floor in terms of like actually interrogating this question. But like Hannity would never be like, "No, wait, what about Schedule F and the and Project 2025, where you basically want to purge the administrative state of all of the bureaucrats unilaterally by executive fiat? What about just unilaterally invoking the Insurrection Act to send shock troops into cities to quell protests? What about just sending special forces to the border to basically completely shut it down?" He's not going to go to refer to those potentially or more dictatorial aspects that Trump is invoking because he wants those things to happen.
Yes.
Like, he's not concerned about those aspects of a potential so-called Trump dictatorship because, like, Hannity would be cool with that and nothing would happen to Hannity.
Of course. I mean,
He'd be invited to the White House to basically, like, watch these things happen. He'd get a front row seat to it.
yeah. And again, like the dictator label, I hear you on that, Matt. But like, he's also expressing his intentions to go after his political opponents or anybody, including Bill Barr.
I think he has intentions to be a dictator, but I mean, this guy had a trifecta when he came into office in 2016. Like,
I just think the lesson that he learned, though, once he lost, which is that like I'm not gonna be like a pussy about this anymore. I'm going hard. That's what I think he thinks the lesson is for
Perhaps.
term number 2.
Yeah, I don't know if the Republican establishment will get behind that, though, because I think, despite what Trump is trying to brand this as, like, they're actually after you, but they have to go through me first. It's like, that's not true. And the Republican establishment knows that there's way more distance between the crimes that they do. I mean, there's way more distance between the crime that Trump does or is being convicted of and what the crimes they're guilty of as politicians. Than there is between them and Democratic establishment. So like going after Nancy Pelosi implicates way more Republican politicians and of their own personal grifts than it does than Democrats going after Trump. Same with like George Santos. It's like if you're doing these kinds of like lazy, petty, really obvious crimes that aren't like just you enriching yourself with insider trading, then you kind of don't implicate them when you
need some discipline.
pitched. Yeah,
Right.